Welcome to my next drawing video. Yes, I'm drawing again. This is the Wikipedia article on drawing. So let's read through that a little bit. And you can see the Leonardo da Vinci drawing. You know what it looks like. Drawing is a visual art that uses an instrument to mark paper or another two-dimensional surface. The instruments used to make a drawing are pencils, crayons, pens with inks, brushes with paints, or combinations of these, and in more modern times, computer styluses with graphics tablets or gamepads and VR drawing software. Okay. A drawing instrument releases a small amount of material onto a surface, leaving a visible mark. The most common support for drawing is paper, although other materials such as cardboard, vellum, wood, plastic, leather, canvas, and board have been used. Temporary drawings may be made on a blackboard or whiteboard. Drawing has been a popular and fundamental means of public expression throughout human history. It is one of the simplest and most efficient means of communicating ideas. The wide availability of drawing instruments makes drawing one of the most common artistic activities. In addition to its more artistic forms, drawing is frequently used in commercial illustration, animation, architecture, engineering, and technical drawing. A quick freehand drawing, usually not intended as a finished work, is sometimes called a sketch. An artist who practices or works in technical drawing may be called a drafter, draftsman, or draftsman. Okay. Overview. So let's just scroll through. Henry de Toulouse-Lautrec, one of my favorite artists. There were people when I went to art school, they didn't know who he was. Shame on them. Because he's such a talented draftsman. There's so many different ways to make a drawing. Galileo Galilei, his drawings of the phases of the moon, they're fantastic. 1609 or 1610, brown ink and wash on paper. Of course, he was executed by the Catholic Church because he had different ideas. He had the right idea. And the Catholic Church, with their tail between their legs, finally forgave him 500 years later. Because people complained about it. Just goes to show that not all religious people are truly connected with God. Technique. Watteau, Antoine Watteau. I haven't heard that name in a long time. Raphael. I didn't know anything in high school. I think I did a one-page report on Raphael without reading a single word about him or looking at his work. I think I just made it up. I was a bad student sometimes. A pencil portrait by Henry Macbeth Rayburn with hatching and shading, 1909. I've never heard of him. Form and proportion of the human body. Perspective. And drawing a figure from worm's eye perspective. Okay. A young woman drawing the Barberini fawn in Munich. Well, it's hard to get a person to sit still for a long time, so you might as well just draw a statue sometimes. Motor control, perception, visual memory. Okay, see, there's a lot to learn about with drawing. I learned something by reading that. Okay. So I did a little setup. I put the table next to the light. I have to pull things out of the car again. I still haven't found my paints yet. Now this is the drawing from yesterday of the truck, McDonald's, soda, some guy with a plaid shirt, the sun, different objects, some squiggles, a dog, cat, mouse, little army men, tree, hamburger, little etch-a-sketch drawings, the 6 basic shapes, and I did them again in a circle. This looks like a rabbit now. Okay. And the day before, I had this page. So I've got 2-sided artwork here. Alright. Mac and cheese. Rudolph makes me happy. So does Bullwinkle. So does Rocky. The abominable snowman. Okay, so I got that page. Anything that can be done on it? Maybe. Well, we just put the paper in here and put in some tone with a pencil. Also on the house. Because why not? I don't even have a pencil sharpener. How about on the cup? Yes, you can draw pencil on top of pen and pen on top of okay. You can draw pencil on top of pen and pen on top of pencil. It's hard to speak the English language when I draw. It's hard to speak the English language when I don't draw. I'm danged if I do, and I'm danged if I don't. So I do have to be careful with my language because on Rumble, my videos get monetized in 2 days. So I don't want to offend the powers that be there. God knows I've already done it on YouTube multiple times over the years. Really, I've gotten nasty little notices. I've gotten into trouble for my online activities, or let's see, crossing the line of acceptability and decency. A lot of these drawings will be really fun to put a little paint on. Okay. And of course I was thinking about Bob Ross today in the car. So you can make a painting within a half hour. And all I've done in 10 minutes is read a Wikipedia article and do a little shading on my drawings. Okay. Apparently Bob Ross smoked a lot. I did not know that. I don't think he ever smoked on camera. Another smoker was Michael Keaton. I would love to have a photograph of Michael Keaton in his Batman outfit smoking a cigarette. And of course, David Lynch was a chain smoker since the age of 8 and smoked until he was 76, and then he quit the last 2 years of his life. Another smoker was Lucille Ball, and without her there would be no such thing as Star Trek, because through her Desilu Studios she basically greenlit Star Trek, and they had a failed first pilot and she gave the green light to do the second pilot, which really got the ball rolling for Star Trek, a franchise that is still going strong today. For my drawing paper, I have Attention Tenant, Room 216, Preventative. Pest control will be in on Wednesday, March 12th, 2025. So that was a big nightmare. Clean all the stuff, put the stuff in the car, get the apartment ready, wait for them to come in. Then after it's all done, then I have to start bringing stuff back from the car into the place. Okay. Thank you, Amber, for all your work.
You're welcome.
Amber saved both our butts multiple times. Okay, drawing with a blue pen. I kind of have an idea of what I'm going to do on this page, but then I don't. So this is all impromptu, where my mind is clear. Oh, that's a Scientology thing, where they try and get you to have a clear mind as you give them lots of money. Scientology is a whole other subject. And of course, Chef Isaac Hayes from South Park was a Scientologist. I used to live in Hollywood, and I used to go by the Church of Scientology all the time. And I convinced my fellow art student to not join Scientology. And he still thanks me for that. Alright, so that's a sketch drawing. I can put paint in. Here's a sphere. Here's a cube. But this time for the cube, I want to make it into a dice. Okay, I don't know if the numbers are right. I'd have to look at my real dice. And I thought I had them there. Where did they go? If you don't know where your D&D dice are, if you don't know where they are, you're in big trouble. I can't do anything without my D&D dice. Dang, what did I do with them? They were in a pouch. Well, they're in the car somewhere. Dang it. My most prized possession, just about. That's just where I am right now. I found this Bart Simpson Pez. Of course it's broken. Everything in my life is broken, including me. Bart Simpson. I never spent too much time drawing him. I used to read Matt Groening's Life in Hell in the LA Weekly every week before he ever did The Simpsons. And he was a cult underground cartoonist. And I liked his cartoons. I wasn't crazy about the drawings with the Rapidograph pens. I used to use them when I first started art school. And then eventually I quit using them because they were a pain, and people would use really fine lines to get all this detail. And I found out that just using a crow quill pen could do everything that the Rapidographs could do, but better. And how you photograph the work makes the difference. Okay, so there's a silly version of Bart Simpson, who of course I've always thought is kind of a descendant of Calvin from Calvin and Hobbes. Okay, too much talking, not enough drawing. Another Rapidograph drawing with a ballpoint pen. Another Etch-a-Sketch drawing. Drawing is very freeform. There are no rules. And there's a trillion different ways to make a drawing. There's a cone. I never know what I'm gonna do. That's the fun of it. Another ball. Why am I doing this? I don't know. There's 2 balls, and there's 3, and there's a shadow. Okay. I'm gonna have to find my dice. I wonder what the hell I did with them. We have to move our stuff around so much. Yeah. So, if you're ever stuck and you don't know what to draw, another good thing to do is just draw objects around you. There's some scissors. It's just to get the ball rolling. Sometimes the imagination doesn't always work or isn't always available. So you can always venture into the real world and just draw things that are right in front of your face, right in front of your stinking, blucking, trucking face. Okay. And the drawing is never finished. It's always something you can do. Shadow. Shadow here. So, if you can draw good with a ballpoint pen, you can probably draw good with anything. I like the ballpoint pens because they never run out of ink. At least not for a long time. So you can draw and draw and draw. You know what's another good exercise? Is to draw your hand. You can spend hours and hours just drawing your hand. So you can work within the form, or you can just draw the outline. There's so many different ways to do it. When you're drawing, you should be able to start anywhere. To start a drawing. You don't have to start from the top or the bottom, or you could start from the right or the left. To get the veins, that's not easy. There's just warm up. I like the lighting from this lamp. The lighting is essential. It helps to make the drawing dramatic, just like actors on a stage need to be well lit, just so even people can see them from the back row. Okay, there's my hand. There's also a shadow back here. Okay, freeform sketching. Let's take a look at that. Alright. How about a foot? I'm not going to take off my shoe right now. Dang it, where are my dice? Oh man. All my Magic the Gathering cards are in disarray. Also, I lost a lot of them. There's a foot. Of course, you remember the Bigfoot from Monty Python's Flying Circus. This is not that foot. Maybe this is my foot when I come out of the shower. It's all wet. And it ain't art until you sign it. Another cube. I do play a lot of Minecraft, so I guess I'm thinking about cubes a lot. Let's make a Minecraft face. Okay, why not? There's a couple of cube guys in the Gumby TV animated show. Can't remember. Blockheads. They were called Blockheads. I like those guys. They're like the original Minecraft characters. Alright, so that's cute. I can also kind of draw another cube. This can be a girl's face. Okay. Little eyelashes. Put some tone in there. Okay, it makes no sense. I have the dark shadow here and the dark shadow on the other side on the girl. Oh, opposites attract. And put some shadow there, why not? Okay, let's see how that turned out. That's pretty funny. Never made a drawing like that before. A ball on top of another ball. How would that even make sense? And how could that even happen? Well, if the balls were welded together, if they were steel balls, then that could happen. They're on a little stand. And we got a little army man here. Man, it's gonna drive me nuts all day until I find my dice sack. Okay, here's a lesson in figure drawing right here. So you should be able to get any figure drawn, the whole figure, in a minute. Just even if it's a stick figure, you should be able to do it. And this goes for big drawings, big pieces of paper. So, see, he's done. 2 legs, 2 arms, a torso, feet, hands, a head. You can do it within a minute. You can time yourself. Just scribble it out. And that's how you learn figure drawing. I've done a lot of drawing in cafes and just sitting in places with my sketchbook. Okay. War was a big thing growing up. Still is. And somewhere in the late 80s and early 90s, people started to really like the military. Okay. But for a long time, the American public wasn't fans of the military. Well, no need to go into American history right now. You know the score. Movies have quite an influence on people. Movie industry is pretty much pro-military at this point, it seems like. Okay. I don't believe in war. I think there's other solutions. The one good thing about Donald Trump is he doesn't seem to be a president who wants to go to war all the time. So that's good. I think it's easier to go to war than to work out the problems through talking. Okay. Let's see, there's cross-hatching. There's scribbling. There's making dots to create a form. Lines. Squiggly lines. So many different ways to make textures. It kind of looks like a dog right there. You let accidents happen, and then all of a sudden I have a dog.